So, music is a section of my life, but I've got 2 children and I've got my partner Steve, and he works full time as a phlebotomist, which means that if you go into Hobart pathology, he'd probably take your blood. And I also teach piano. I've just got a few students doing that, and I'm trying to do my 8th grade piano to sort of enhance those qualifications and to get good technique. So I was very fortunate because my family was very musical. We had an entire music room. I mean, there was a whole room set up specifically for music. So, and my mum played piano, and she didn't just do classical, she played rock, and she'd write songs, and she'd adjust covers. So I had all those sorts of elements in play. I was really lucky. And we had a lot of instruments. I mean, we'd walk into the room, you'd have a piano, you'd have a bass, because my dad was a bass player. We'd have a guitar, we'd have another guitar. But there was always a rule I wasn't allowed to play my sister's cello. That was her instrument and I wasn't allowed to touch it. That was the rule in the family. No, I wasn't allowed to, but I played violin. I played violin from when I was 8 to when I was 18. And I originally got into the Conservatorium of Music on violin. Oh, that's right, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I got really confused. I finished my arts degree and things weren't going so well. I mean, I was on Centrelink and I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I went to a counsellor and they said, oh, well, if you love music, why don't you give it a go? So I tried really hard to get into bands and start pushing it that way. So in my early 20s, I started to play out in pubs. And I think my dad got me my first gig and then he said, you have to go do it yourself. And so I try and march into places and, you know, probably get really badly ripped off. But I did get a few gigs and I decided to get a funk band together. And so I put an ad up at the con and had some people ring me and we formed a band. I didn't know them, we just had a go and yeah. I had a funk band for a year and then another band after that and yeah, you know, etc, etc. Yeah, so when you have 2 children, you have a lot of things you've got to do that you just don't factor in when you don't have kids. And yeah, it was an accident. So I was 27 when I got pregnant with Abby and I was still finishing the conservatorium. So I was walking around very pregnant and just really hoping they'd let me do summer school to finish it before I had Abby, because I had seen Steve's sisters have kids and I knew that the sleep deprivation can throw you out for a year or so. So yeah, so I managed to get summer school and finish my music degree, and then I had Abby and yeah, took some time off to look after her and then had Monty. So yeah. Monty has this hum that he does when he gets into role play. You kind of, you know, he starts and then he just suddenly does all these fake sword fights and he's running around everywhere and he has this dress-up box and there's just dress-ups everywhere and he has about 8 costume changes and oh wow, so he's very theatrical type kid and Abby's really creative too. She's an amazing artist, so she does all these amazing little sort of art things. Kids' art is just so cool. Like, yeah, you could just have so many kids' pictures. You could just plaster them all around your house. They're just so cool when they do art. It's just so free. When I was a kid, when you're a kid with music, you're truly free. And I always used to make up tunes, even when I couldn't play an instrument. And I used to do a rhythmic backing with my mouth. And you may think, oh, that's so cute. But my parents, in a car, when you've got a kid for 3 hours, just making constant noise, it can drive people absolutely up the wall. So I was always making little humming underlines and using my mouth while singing. So I don't know when it started, but actually where I started writing it down, I was about 12. This is really old school. I've got cassette tapes of loads of songs because I find I have to record them very quickly because I might forget a tune or, things are running through my head. So I've got all these cassette tapes downstairs and it's Helen, 1992, and I've got one of me when I'm 12, and it's just so weird because I sound like a kid, and it's really weird to hear yourself back as an adult singing as a kid. It's just a weird experience. I remember actually when I was younger, I just felt like writing a song at 2 a.m, and I was flatting with people, and I'll never forget this girl swinging a door open, my flatmate, and just the look of, she was so mad. I was like, what? It's 2 a.m, what's the problem? There would have been noise carrying through the house. So yeah, when I was young, I just honestly just had no sense of time, or I just play and create whenever I felt like it. It was just crazy. So there's a bit more control with it now, so I have to quickly record a lot of stuff and go back to it. It's kind of weird, like I might be in a car and a tune comes into my mind, and so I have to hum the tune all the way home, unlock the door, run to the piano, get the tape recorder on and quickly get the tune down, especially if I've got something else to do. So look, I hate to admit it, but the writing's the hardest for me. I'll come up with the tune and then it gets a bit dangerous because what will happen is I'll come up with a singing tune as well, and I'll just have these nonsense lyrics. But if they get too sort of embedded, then I could end up with these just terrible words because, it's just whatever's coming into my head. So then I have to sit down and think about it and think about a theme. For me, if every song just carried the same theme, so if it was all just about, if it was all just about relationships for 20 songs, I'd feel quite frustrated that maybe I hadn't furthered myself into looking at the world and other things that go on in the world. Songwriting's hard because I think you need 3 strong things. You need a strong singing line, the tune, you need strong chordal development and something that'll engage someone. It could be simple or complicated. And then you need strong lyrics for the people who listen to lyrics. So you're providing 3 different things all at once for someone because everyone listens to different things. So to get a song strong in all 3, I think, it whittles down quite a lot of my songs. I had a bit of a dip in confidence in my 20s and I kind of stopped playing out. I never stopped playing because I love it. So I'd write lots of songs at home, but I didn't play out for about 4 or 5 years. I get extremely nervous. When I used to play my bands, I'd almost vomit in taxi cabs. I get very worked up. I do suffer quite a lot of anxiety, so it's definitely me wondering if I'm good enough. Sometimes I wonder if I'm being ridiculous, performing original songs. I wonder if they have any real merit. Sometimes I wonder if people are lying to me when they say that they're good. I think, well, how will you know the truth? People are just being polite. And then they told me I had like a nodule on my thyroid, and they said, look, we have to take it out, it could be cancer. And they said, but there is a chance when we operate on you that we could, while cutting it out, we could actually cut a bit of your vocal cord. So that kind of got me thinking a lot about whether I had to try and swap quickly to piano. So I had the operation, and when I woke up I started talking. I was like, oh, I can talk. And I left it for 2 weeks, and I said, oh, I can sing as well. And I thought, well, I probably shouldn't waste time. Like, it kind of made me realise you're only able to do music as long as you're physically capable, as long as you're mentally and physically capable. So I thought, well, I've got to stop wasting time. And I've just got to do it. And if I can't get a band together, I've just got to go solo. And so I gave myself a year plan. I said, because I knew it was going to be bad to begin with. I hadn't played for ages. I knew I was going to speed up and be very nervous. So I had a plan that I wasn't allowed to quit for a year. And I had to see what that journey would do. And it was an interesting journey that year. It's been about 9 months or so since that year happened. And I used to think going solo would be a very lonely thing. I used to think I'd be up there and it'd be very lonely and isolating. And I always said to people, I'll never go solo, it's just too... But what it's actually done is it's made me talk to people and get out of my shell a bit. Because when you play solo, you're not hanging out in a group of people. So you have to go talk to people and actually get a little out of your shell and say, oh, hi, I'm Helen. I liked your music, or, oh, hi, how you going, bar stuff, thank you for my drink. And I've made a lot of friends, and a lot of songwriters that I've met. And so it's helped me realise I'm not alone as a songwriter and that we all sort of go through it together. So yeah, it's been actually really, really good. I guess you've got to understand and be fair to yourself that you are playing solo, and depending on the room or how you're mixed or a lot of things can affect the way you play. And so if you don't have a good PA system or if something goes on in the night, you just have to keep going. So that's kind of hard. Sometimes too, if I see people in the room who I know are really excellent musicians, I can, in my head I'm like, oh no, blah blah just walked in, what are they going to think? And so I've got to try and get rid of that voice. I have a voice that sometimes comes in, and I've just got to get rid of it and just try my best to keep going and calm down as quickly as I can while I'm playing. So yeah, but I mean, I've had some moments. It's kind of, you've got to have a sense of humour too. I think if you lose your sense of humour and you should be passionate about music, but if you get too serious and harsh on yourself, you'll just never play. And you do get better as you perform, or you do learn to, quickly shut the voice out, or try and, You know, it's about not letting your head go out there and get it back into focus. But yeah, I'm still sort of working on it. I really am. Yeah, it's hard though. What I found is sometimes you'd have great gigs and you'd just be like, that was great, and I've got lots of friends on Facebook now, and then you could just have the gig from hell and you come home and just, you think, oh God, am I insane? And am I getting too old to be doing original material? Should I quit? You know, and then the next week you might have a good gig again. So I realise there's this emotional roller coaster that you have to kind of ride and try and cope with. This is going to sound dark, I don't know if I should say it on camera, but I've actually thought, well, you know, when people say we have a natural disaster, what role does music have in anything? I mean, you know, it'd be food, it must be, you know, trying to survive on those sorts of levels. I mean, what would music and art or general creativity do? But you hear so many stories about people in prison camps or you know, having a hard time, and they survive psychologically through art, through finding a way of escapism to emotionally cope. So if you take away those creative things from someone and they're going through something like that, then it could make them give up, and maybe then, you know, they wouldn't survive. I don't know. I know that sounds dark, but that's what I thought about, because I thought, well, you know, physically what importance does it have? But it's the psychological importance it has. I mean, music, if you switch something on sad and you're very happy, I mean, it can literally change your mood into a mood where you feel more, you know, more reflective almost instantly. I mean, that's how powerful it can be. Or when you go to a bar, you know, you might pick a bar to mirror how you feel. I mean, that's how powerful it is. If you want to go out and dance, I mean, you know, you think about the music that'd fit psychologically how you feel. So it provides escapism. Sometimes I suppose it provides a psychological sense of health, I suppose. So it's very powerful, as is art, as is anything. It can provide a political voice. I mean, when you think of the rap groups in the early 90s that protested with the New York riots, I mean, it's a huge, huge, powerful tool, just like writing or any sort of art is.